Hi, everyone, and welcome to our special speaker series during Cybersecurity Month. Our special topic today is artificial intelligence, real threats. A buzzword for years, artificial intelligence, AI, has evolved into a powerful, accessible tool, and like any tool, it can be used for evil. How can AI-based video and audio technology be harnessed by adversaries or you as part of a sophisticated information security attack? What sort of attacks are we seeing in the wild, and how can we prepare for the new offensive techniques? Our amazing speaker today is Johnny Christmas, a predominant personality in the information security community who has been sharing his security research and knowledge in these public forums since 2002. He is most well known for his work on the American TSA master key leaks between 2014 and 2018 and the Venmo stalking exposures in 2018. Currently, the Technical Director of Cybersecurity Training with Grim Cyber. Over to you, Johnny. Thank you.
Thanks, Melanie. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for having me. I know we're starting a bit late here. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'll try to keep a good even pace on this and get us ending back in time. So let's hop right in. This is me, Johnny Christmas. As Melanie said, Director of Training over at Grim. I have tried to do every possible role there has been in information security in order to just make myself a more well-rounded person. I've done all kinds of crazy crap, as you can see here. Started way back as a network engineer in the late 90s and have done everything in information security from penetration testing, defensive engineering, you name it. I've had my toe in that water. Right now over at Grim, I am the director of training and I put together a lot of niche training. I am also a security researcher, and that's one of the most fun parts of my job is we get to spend a whole lot of time getting really deep on some of the coolest stuff, most cutting edge technology that's going on out there right now. We're currently working on a lot of connected vehicle stuff. We're working, transportation security. Right this week, I am hacking drones. What I've been doing all year, besides that, on my free time, is I have been looking into the advancement of AI within the offensive security space. Down there in the bottom left corner is a little QR code you could scan. You could find all of my, pretty much everything about me down there. You can find all of my social media. You can find my YouTube channel. You can find my GitHub where I have these slide decks in there if you want them for later. So go ahead and grab that. I think I also have it at the end. I don't know. We'll find out. We're going to go through this together and see where this path leads. So, like I said, AI, we all know AI is a massive buzzword, and we all know that even just a year ago, AI, at least in this form, was certainly barely talked about. Back in the past, when we would talk about AI, it was in relation to, usually you hear it from some kind of vendor, saying our product uses AI and machine learning to accomplish various tasks. The new problem that we have now with this new form of AI that's coming out here is that it's not like that old AI. This is generative AI, and without getting too deep in the weeds about the technical differences between that, one of the upsides to this new technology and what it's being used for is accessibility and ease of use. And because of those two things, because there's very low barrier to entry, both in tech knowledge and cost, and combined with the fact that it's fast, it's easy to use, we see tons of attacks coming down the pipes using this generative AI to accomplish things that in the past were exceptionally difficult. We all know that, like I said, even a year ago, we hadn't been talking about this much. And now in less than a year, it's been 8-10 months, we're now seeing this being approaching being a dominant attack path, and not just from nation states, but average criminals trying to use this. So I'm going to get into a lot of those attacks here and let you know what we're seeing, how it's being used, what to look out for. Like I said, we're seeing plenty of average people using these things. And I don't mean average people like the average Joe, but the average criminal. Scammers, scamming, especially scamming of the elderly, scamming of people with lots of money and who don't know what to do with it, scamming of people with children, the old kidnapping scams. Those are, we've heard of all of these forever. And it was usually in the past done with emails. Email phishing was always the most common thing. Or if you were pretending to be a kidnapper and say, hey, I have your daughter, the most you could ever get is a kidnapper's voice saying, I have your daughter, and then maybe they'd have some girl screaming in the background or something like that. What we're seeing now in these telephone attacks is they're actually cloning the voices of people and putting those people online and saying, hey, I have your daughter here. I'm going to have her say something so no, I'm not lying. And then they'll play, a 15-second, 20-second clip of, your daughter saying, oh man, please help me. Just give them money. They're going to kill me. It's an absolute nightmare. You see the bottom right there, we have a couple who got called, and they were told that their son was drunk driving and he had killed a diplomat. And he was going to go to prison if they didn't pay a $21,000 bail or something like that. And it wasn't the scammer telling them that; it was their son or their son's voice calling in and saying, "Hey, I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm in the prison. This is my only phone call. You got to do me a favor. This is what happened. You got to send $21,000 to this wire address." And when you're hearing the voice of someone you know and someone you love, you really don't think about, oh, is this a scam? Is this someone pretending to be them? Especially this early on, when this just isn't something that we're being told to look out for. But this is a really, really great indicator of not just how easy and accessible the technology is, but how accurate it is. When you can call someone's mother and play a clone of someone's voice, and that person's mother goes, oh yeah, that's absolutely my son. I will absolutely give you $21,000. You're my son. I can tell from your voice because I'm your mother. I can't think of any better indicator of quality than that, other than perhaps the first time I had come across this, when we were playing with it way back. Honestly, it was late last year when we were starting to play with this voice cloning technology and see what it was really like. What the threat really looked like was my partner had cloned my voice off of my podcast. And that's how a lot of this is happening. Everyone is on social media. Everyone is posting videos on, from Facebook through Instagram, through, now TikTok. All you need is about 90 seconds of someone talking to get a really awesome vocal fingerprint. So he had taken a couple of minutes of me talking on my podcast, and he had then slipped into my voicemail, a voicemail from me, canceling some of our plans for the weekend. And he goes, hey, listen to your voicemail. And I listened to it, and it was me. And that's me listening to myself and saying, yeah, that's me. That's how I talk. That's insane, because it doesn't just clone the tonality, like it doesn't clone the pitch of your voice. It clones the way that you speak, the timbre, the framework, the methodology. It clones your stammers, your uhs and your and it will inject things like those sorts of things. It clones your manner of speaking, and that's what makes these things so dangerous. So I'm going to go a lot into the audio AI later. I kind of got ahead of myself here. First off, I did want to get out of the way the one that I think everybody knows here. This is the like text code. This is your Chat GPT type of generative AI. The stuff that's all text based and is trained off of effectively everything on the public internet, at least as far as the Chat GPT version goes. We are seeing plenty of situations where you can give Chat GPT some code you're looking at and saying, hey, can you find anything exploitable in this code? Or are there these types of exploits? What we have here, this is a Twitter thread that somebody had posted where they were working on a CTF, and they literally say, hey, I'm working on a challenge here. So for those who don't know, CTF, it's kind of like a puzzle that a lot of security folks like to do. And it says, hey, I'm working on this technical puzzle here. I think I have to perform a buffer overflow against it. Can you look at this code and then let me know how to do that? And ChatGPT responds with, here is all of the code you need that will execute a buffer overflow type of exploit against the thing that you're trying to target. And if you just compile and run this, it works. And that's particularly crazy because now this does not require anyone to have programming knowledge. It doesn't require you to be able to look at this code there on the left. Well, that's the challenge code. It doesn't require you to look at the code that's generated by ChatGPT and understand it and know what to do with it even. ChatGPT says this will work, and if you compile it and run it, there's a good chance it's going to work. So not only have we eliminated the need for like regular developers and things to be able to perform, specific types of programming tasks they may not have been able to before. This is now enabling maybe someone who does not have any kind of programming experience to write code that can exploit to extremely dangerous levels vulnerable software that's out there. So we have now, using ChatGPT, which is publicly available to everyone, more or less, we've enabled it to be able to just point that at things that might be vulnerable and ask it to, make an attempt, especially in things like open source software. Companies choose to do that. It can make it a lot easier for ChatGPT to find it. And so because of that, one would hope that just like most security defenses and secure development practices, you would hopefully these people would actually be doing that themselves as they write the code and they say, okay, this project looks finished. Let's go and see if ChatGPT or something like that actually finds any exploitable things in here. It's a great tool, but just like a hammer can be a phenomenal tool that you can accomplish and build many things with, or you can hit somebody in the head with it and take their wallet. And so it's, we shouldn't just be writing these things off as like absolutely dangerous and shut it down. It's just some people are choosing to use it with malicious intent. But the other side is you can also try that and then fix the problems it finds, and then heighten your defenses against that. So I didn't want to spend too much time on this and ChatGPT because I think this is, like I said, the thing most people have experience with. This is what you see, at least on the IT side of the house, with what ChatGPT can do. I don't think I'm surprising most people with, oh, it can write you some basic code. Yes, it absolutely can. And you just extrapolate on, well, what does that mean? And it's this. It can write you code that can do very dangerous things if that's what you ask it to do. And we are seeing that in the wild. One of the other things that it's really, really good for is actually writing social engineering / phishing emails. You can specifically tell ChatGPT intent and tone, purpose, and it will write things while taking that into consideration. You can literally tell it, hey, write me an email with a target audience of these or that corporate users that is going to evoke emotional responses and compel them to click this link here and make it about our health insurance being canceled or something like that. And it will create a very evocative email that you can tell it, I want to incense the user, or I want to make the user feel scared or worried for their family. And it can take all of this and write some very compelling emails that'll make you get, right away angry. It'll write you an email that says like, hey, like company, due to current economic times, the company has decided to suspend our family insurance plans. We'll only be offering individual insurance at this time, starting on the 1st of the month. Something like that everybody would free heck and just click the link right away. You can just ask ChatGPT to write something like that. And so instead of you having to be really good at knowing what's going to irk people or freak them out, it's really good at that. And so we're seeing that being used in the wild to generate, not just garbage political website content, but literally phishing emails to get people to click the link, execute the malicious code, and own their computers. So back into the audio technology that I really started going down that rabbit hole on in the intro. I think this is probably the thing that the non-technical folks see the most. This audio stuff going around. This is, like I said, this is what's being used over the telephone systems to really scam lots of people out of money. I think that's what hits like the local news all the time. Like those, let's see, go back to these headlines I had here that were like, oh, these individual people were hit up and had a lot of money stolen from them. We're also seeing this used to create political problems, and not just within governments, but also just within organizations. We're talking stock market manipulation, not just voter manipulation, things like that. If you can, if an audio recording of a CEO saying something exceptionally negative about the company, or talking about, thinking of selling the company and don't tell anyone, or something exceptionally racist, things like that will have a huge impact on the stock price. And so we see people leveraging this in an attempt to, say, crash the stock. And then when the stock crashes, they'll buy a ton of that very cheap stock, because they know once it gets out that, oh no, this was actually a deep fake audio. The CEO never said that. Everything's fine. The company's great. Look at our numbers. It's amazing. Then that stock price will come way back up. And now that fraudster who intentionally crashed the stock and bought it cheap is going to make a lot of money by selling the stock at that much higher value very quickly. Now it's a great way to sell yourself out. It's pretty easy to find who did that if you're the SEC or something like that. But overall, these are the kind of attacks that we're seeing out there. They're not just out there trying to get piddly amounts of money from individual couples. They're not trying to scam 20 grand out of grandma. Yeah, you can do that. It's possible. But the real big money is in scamming the large corporations. If you're trying to specifically get money. Another thing we see here up on the screen is voice actors. This is a huge problem going on right now, where if you're a voice actor, generally your contract has some kind of language that says like, hey, I agree to allow this production company the use of my voice for any and all purposes, usually for, if you do voice acting for a Disney movie, Disney has the rights to use your voice in commercials to promote that Disney movie. Perhaps even if it wants to make a video game and take voice clips from the movie. And that's pretty common. Usually you get a little, a couple extra bucks if that's the case. And they often don't want to pay you to come back in to record more lines for the games or something like that. So just take clips out of the movie instead of having to pay you more. What we're seeing now, because these contracts say, hey, you can use my voice. They just say the use of my voice. We're seeing production companies in real time creating fingerprints of the voices from the original voice recording sessions, and then creating entirely new content. Say creating, tons of recorded lines for use in the video game that weren't in the movie, that may have paid you as a voice actor another $50,000. But instead, for free, effectively, they just used your voice, which your contract said they could, kept their $50,000 and produced a ton more content of things that you never said as a voice actor. So it's not even fraud that we're seeing out there. We're seeing, this is just exploitation of contract language. That is legal and allowed per the contract. But you are absolutely at the same time scamming people out of, tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars, depending on who that voice actor is. So that's absolutely happening out there as well. And I 100% call that an attack, because it's it's an attack against someone's pocketbook. They're stealing your voice, making you say things you didn't say. And then beyond that, we can all extrapolate any kind of dangers in our personal lives and problems in our personal lives that can come from somebody hearing us say something that we absolutely did not say in person. And that's very real. And I'll show you some examples in a little bit. The tool that is predominantly being used for that is right here. It's called 11 Labs. And so what I did here is I took a 90-second clip of my friend Chris just saying some things. I gave him some sentences to say, and he just read them, and I recorded them, and I put them into 11 Labs. So I want you to keep that in mind as we go through lots of this stuff. This is with 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes of someone just talking. And then I typed in, oh, here's what I want Chris to say. Chris is the CIO for a fake insurance group, which I listed here. You can see in the text, and you'll hear what I had him say in a second. I said, I want Chris to say this, and the imagination here is that this is a voicemail that someone who reports to that CIO can receive on their phone. It's real easy to slip stuff into people's voicemails. Your phone won't ring. You'll just see, oh, I have a new voicemail. Weird. My phone didn't ring. And that's not weird because phones don't work. And everyone goes, this stupid phone doesn't work. And then you check your voicemail. Oh my God, it's my CIO. I can't believe I missed this. He's going to be pissed. And it's going to have him talking. So I'm going to play 3 clips here. This first one is the first attempt. And it's going to sound pretty good. It's going to, if somebody was being even a little bit vigilant, I would imagine they may be able to say like, oh, this sounds kind of fake. This sounds like a computer might have made this. But then we're going to move on from there. So take a listen to this one.
Hey, this is Chris. I have a family emergency and I'm at the airport. I'm going to be unavailable for most of the day, but I need you to handle something immediately. In your inbox, there is an invoice for Geneva Insurance Group. I need you to process it right away. Everything is approved and I can handle any questions when I get back. But we need that invoice paid before 10 a.m. today. Thanks.
Okay, so you're gonna have to trust me on the fact that at least that is how the tone of Chris's voice, that is what Chris sounds like. Were I to get that voicemail, I would say, this sounds like a computer used Chris's voice to say things, because he's not speaking in the way that like a human, or at least him, like really speaks, especially given the situation. So then what we did is we went back in 11 Labs, and it lets you kind of massage the fluctuations. You can tell it how crazy to get with the voice, how intense and quiet and all of that to inject into the voice to make it sound more natural, because this is how I speak when I'm presenting. I sound like this, right? Instead of just talking like this, which might be my normal sitting at my desk voice. We changed the way that we speak based on the context. So I massaged it a little, and I'm talking minutes. We spent minutes on this. And this is the next iteration.
Hey, this is Chris. I have a family emergency and I'm at the airport. I'm going to be unavailable for most of the day, but I need you to handle something immediately. In your inbox, there is an invoice for Geneva Insurance Group. I need you to process it right away. Everything is approved and I can handle any questions when I get back, but we need that invoice paid before 10 a.m. today. Thanks.
Again, a computer made all of that, including those inhales, the sniffs, the little coughs. It will bring that in from the initial recording and inject those, if you tell it to, in a natural way. That sounds more like somebody might talk, especially if they're frantically calling you, just ran to their airport gate. That sounds more realistic. And then finally, to really push it over the top, we added in some sound effects. And again, we added these in minutes. What did I do here? I literally went on YouTube and I found airport background audio. And I just put that on in the background. And then you'll hear some papers shuffling around. That is literally me just shuffling some paper in front of a microphone for a second and putting that in at a good spot in the computer audio. So yes, it isn't just this AI tool generating this, but with 15, absolute max 15 additional minutes of work, I was able to make it sound like this.
Hey, this is Chris. I have a family emergency, and so I am at the airport. Listen, I'm going to be unavailable for most of the day, but I need you to handle something immediately. 1 second. Right, so in your inbox, there is an invoice for Geneva Insurance Group. I need you to process it right away. Everything is approved, and I can handle any questions when I get back. But we need that invoice paid before 10 a.m. today. Okay, thanks.
I think that's kind of crazy. That sounds absolutely realistic. That sounds like a voicemail a frantic person would leave who really needs something done. The background audio, the few little bit of sound effects, puts it way over the top for believability. This tool that we use to do this cost me, and this is all done in a browser, by the way. I wasn't even running this locally. This is using 11 Labs service. It cost me $1. And that's $1 for a month of access to it. It has an upper limit on how many words you can have it say, but it's a pretty darn large upper limit. And it's $1 for the first month. And guess what? How much it is after that? $5. $5 a month for access to this. Something that good.
Hey, this is Chris. I have a family.
Move through there. So I don't think I need to terrify you anymore with the potentials of the audio tech. Let's dive into video, which gets a little more hazy and interesting. We've been seeing this deep fake stuff for kind of a long time, maybe. We started seeing it hit certain nefarious circles of the internet in large numbers. I want to say 2014, 2015 is when you really even see this term deep fake starting to come around. It was really hard to use back then. It took exceptional amounts of compute power. We weren't seeing GPU-based processing yet, so it's hitting all CPU. It took forever. It didn't look that amazing. So, and because of the type of works that were being produced with it, pretty much every website out there just put a ban on anything that was deepfake, and that really pushed it deep into the underground, and it was more or less abandoned as far as content production for a long time. Then 2 years ago, in February, March, right after the beginning of the Ukrainian war, the Russian-Ukrainian war, we saw a video surface of Vladimir Zelensky, president of Ukraine, telling all of the Ukrainian people to stand down, to put their weapons down, to not fire on Russian forces, and to just allow the Russians to do what they needed to do, and that it's in the interest of saving lives. And so if you just comply with Russia, I, as your president, want to make sure nobody has to die. And I would rather give up a chunk of our country to Russia than have to watch any one of our citizens be murdered by them. I think this is the best response. Please don't fight the Russians. Please peacefully let them do what they have to do. And it sounds reasonable, but it didn't seem plausible for Zelensky. This is not the kind of person he was known to be. And so it was weird that this came out. Now I'm going to play this video for you. And have a look at his mouth and his body language.
Українці.
And in fact,
Шановні захисники.
I don't know if turning the volume down works here, but this is all in Ukrainian, so don't worry too much about what he's saying. But this was a faked video that the Russian government had made about 2 years ago. And everyone in Ukraine, at least, pretty instantly called it out as being fake. He's a much more animated person. One of the first things they called out was they said his head is not the right size for his body, for the body that's here in the picture. It was clear that they had a person sit extremely still in the fake, and they had the body sit extremely still so that they could put a very still head on it and not create a lot of motion that would create video artifacts that made it look worse. His mouth doesn't perfectly line up with the words, and he's very inexpressive in his face, which is just not like him, even if he's being solemn. And so they were like, this is a fake. And then as they dug into it, they said, look, here's all these physical reasons why this clearly isn't him, and here's all these digital reasons. But it was pretty darn good. If I just kind of like jump through and play that one more time. This doesn't look stupid. It doesn't look inherently bad. It's not amazing. And people were able to call it out saying like, no, this is clearly fake. And what it was the Russian government had produced this to try to trick the Ukrainians into just laying down their arms and letting them be taken over. And this was, when you say, all right, is this the height of the technology's capability? And you have to assume yes for the time, because we're talking nation state level attack who has everything to lose from this war. Well, more or less, like they can't, just given Putin's mentality, like losing is absolutely not an option here. That's not going to happen. And so if, when you say how much money and time do you think they would put into this? An exceptional amount, I would imagine, when you're talking about invading another country and trying to convince it to just give you its land without shooting at you, you would put an immense amount of time and money into this. And so this is an example of 2 years ago, what an immense amount of time and money could get you. This was effectively what we can assume was the peak capability. The quality is not even that good, right? This isn't some like 2200 generation copy of a video. This is what it looked like on TV. On HD, 4K TV, doesn't look that great. That's because they had to really tone down the quality to kind of blur the lines between the two videos that are being overlapped here. It again. Now we're seeing much more. Only 2 years later, when to talk even 1 year later, we've got these photos of Trump kissing Donald Fauci that made it to the news that were fake, completely faked photographs, and not photoshopped, but AI generated from scratch. And we all, those of us in America might recall the deep divide between the White House and between Fauci, where Fauci, of course, was promoting everyone to get vaccinated, and the White House was saying, well, let's look at other options. To have something come out where like, hey, actually they're exceptionally good friends in the back end, could incite riots in a populace at the time, at least. And so we started seeing things like that come out, and then we started seeing even the Ron DeSantis campaign. Later on, when Ron DeSantis was running for office, just generating fake, completely fake, deep faked images and presenting them as truth, knowing that they were fake, to convince people of all sorts of things that were going on that actually weren't. When you could just ask AI to give me photographic proof of anything that I want, and then you get that onto the news. When you use your authority as a political figure, a trusted political figure, and you go, here are photographs I have of something that did happen, the news is probably going to trust you and go, wow, that's insane, thanks. And then, if you're, lying about it for your own gain, that can be super beneficial to you. I think we've all seen like the photographs out there that went viral of like, President Trump running from the police who were trying to arrest him. They look really good. We've all seen those. The quality on this is absolutely insane and super believable. Tons and tons, hundreds of millions of people in the US alone thought, at least for a couple days, that those photographs of him running from the police were real because they look that good. And it takes a minute or less to generate those images on affordable consumer hardware, things you can go to, Micro Center or Amazon and buy for a few $100s. I play this one here. So this was a way better one that someone had made of Obama, and for this one, I really liked the lip syncing that they did here. Take a look at this.
This is our world now. The world of the electron and the switch. the beauty of the bod.
It's not
We make use
great.
of a service already existing without paying for what could be dirt cheap if it wasn't run by profiteering gluttons. And you call us criminals. We explore, and you call us criminals.
So I cut it off there. That was my friend Chris again reading something. That was the original 90 seconds I had him read. It wasn't even 90 seconds of that. And then I used a tool and took this video of Obama and had the tool sync Obama's lips to my friend Chris talking. I'll play that again.
This is our world now. The world of the electron and the switch, the beauty of the bod. We make use of a service already existing without paying for what could be dirt cheap if it wasn't run by profiteering gluttons. And you call us criminals. We explore, and you call us criminals.
Looks pretty darn good. And again, this was real quick, just as a proof of concept. We did not put a bunch of time into making it look really good, into making it look perfect. It can be made to look perfect. This was a quickie, and I wanted to use that example of what no effort will get you. It's pretty darn good. And now imagine if I had then used the previous voice cloning tool to change it to Obama's voice, who has no end of audio recordings of him out there. It's real easy. Now, when you see someone's face and voice and their lips moving to what they're saying, it's hard to say that that's not real, especially if you're not even doing full face swapping. If you're just using an existing video of the person, there's tons of video of Obama, tons of video of lots of people talking, and you're just modifying the small amount, just modifying the area around their mouth, it becomes even more believable because there's so little space to detect problems going on. One thing I had done, I was doing for fun during Taylor Swift was just touring, and that was big news constantly everywhere. I told a Swift fan, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be playing with Taylor Swift at this Chicago show, and I had made a video of me. I thought it'd be funny, like, so I'm a guitarist, a musician, music major actually. I didn't have a lot of time to cover my background in the beginning, but it's like, oh yeah, I do a lot of shows. I do a lot of hired guitar work. And I said, oh yeah, I'm going to be playing with Taylor Swift. And I was like, oh, I can get you some video. And so I found a video of just Taylor Swift's guitarist playing with her on stage with some really great 80s hair. And I was like, how quickly, this is one button stuff here. And I'm going to actually show you how easy this was in a second, but I want to show you the output first. Here's the original video. Sorry if that's a bit loud for you guys. So this got her guitarist on the left. These guitarists are generally hired people, brought in for the tour. They're usually very, very good musicians. But they're not known because Taylor Swift doesn't have a band. It's not the Taylor Swift band. It's her. It's just her doing her music, and then when she tours, she hires in people to be the supporting band. So it's not normal for anyone to be able to see, like, if you saw just him, you would never go, oh yeah, that's Taylor Swift's guitarist, because he may have only been her guitarist for even like one show or 10 shows or something. They usually hang out in the background. So for me to say, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be doing a show, it might be plausible. And so then as a gag, I had just made a deep fake of myself as the guitarist. It turned out a bit like this. This is 2 button clicks. Me with my 80s mustache. It's all the facial expressions in there, right? All the different angles of the face. I mean, there's a nice close-up there. It's a little tweaky here and there, and that's easy enough to fix. Looks super realistic, right? I can even cut through frames here. That's how I smile, man. I'll tell you, that's me. That's how I look when I play guitar. That's funny. And I want to tell you, I didn't take a video of me making these faces. I took one single straight ahead photograph of me, and I'll show you what I used in a second. Just one photograph of me with a straight face, and it was able to make all of these different expressions, which I have. That's my smile. That's what I would look like if I was up there. I would absolutely never in my life be caught dead with that haircut. But aside from that, if I sent this to my dad and he had not seen that I didn't grow my hair out, there's a great chance he'd absolutely believe this. Yeah. So the tool I used, and I'm doing this to show you how. Oh, there's actually one more video here. I had pushed the wrong button, and we ended up with this one. And I said, well, I kind of really do have to show you guys this one. Obviously, this is me if I was Taylor Swift. That's a less plausible scenario, right? Hard to convince at least my dad that I'm Taylor Swift. So not a phenomenal thing, but let's see if I can get a good frame there. Yeah, but you know, I did it. I accidentally reversed something, and I said, well, I have to, as penance, put this in the presentation. So there's me as Taylor Swift, you guys. So I promised I would show you the tool. This is what I used. This is how easy things have gotten. The bottom left, that's the straight on photograph of me. I think I was actually I was just leaning off the edge of my couch, which is what happened to my hair there. That's it. It's a photograph of me, not even making a face. It's not 10 photographs of me with different expressions. It's not a video of me speaking. It is just my face. And it was able to manipulate my face in extremely realistic manners and put it right on that guy in the video. And it looks exactly like me. And that's me saying that. Me looking at it and going, that's me. And that's insane. This is the interface. It is super pointy, clicky. Anyone can do this. And the hardware that I'm doing this on is last generation GPUs. That's, graphics cards, gaming PC cards from last generation, mid-range. So not even the highest end ones from last generation. The card that did this goes for about $225 on eBay. $225 is now all anyone needs to make something this realistic. And this is the most difficult thing to do is the video. Everything else needs way less power. So for $225, really anyone can do this. And I don't mean $225 and a couple of months of dedicated time. $225 and a mouse that can click on things, and they can generate stuff like this. In fact, that GPU I used for this can render video faster than real time, meaning that I can, in fact, you'll see in the upper left corner, there's a little live cam tab. I can actually do a face change in real time and have it appear in the operating system as a webcam. So then I can get on a video call with that active face swap in real time. And as long as I don't move around too much, it looks really good. And so then you can think you're talking, you have that person who you think it is on the call and it's me or whatever. It's insane how easy this is. And I really wanted to drive that home because a lot of people have been writing these attacks off as, oh, this is nation state level stuff. You need an entire data center of GPUs and millions of dollars and 2 to 6 months of time to make it look good. No, you need to steal a graphics card from your local retail store. We're talking criminals, so they don't necessarily even need the money. You need one of these consumer grade pieces of hardware. And really, you don't even need that. You can do it without that graphics card. You can do it strictly on just your PC with no gaming card in it or anything whatsoever. It just takes longer. This video I made here, there was a 30-second video. It took me about 25 seconds to render with the last gen video card. Doing it just in the CPU for 30 seconds, it'd probably take about 40 minutes. 40 minutes is an exceptionally reasonable amount of time for something that can have such devastating result. So This is all terrifying, right? And it seems like, yeah, you're screwed. Everybody can fool you because you think it's them. What do we do? And the what do we do is the same thing that we've been saying. What do we do about everything else that's a security threat? One, education. It's what we're doing right now, not just with your Security Awareness Month, but with what I'm talking about right here. I'm educating everyone on what is out there, what its capabilities are, what it's good at, what it's not so good at. And just simply by being aware, and it makes you more vigilant. You know, when you see that, oh, it's not just nation state level attacks. It's not just major criminal enterprise who wants to put a lot of time and money into something. It's your average punk. It's your average ransomware scammer with a little bit of money can do this. And now when you know that, you know to keep an eye out for it a little harder, because you know you can be a target of this. Because, you know, for huge stuff, we go, nobody's going to target me with, you know, it's going to cost them $1 million. Not going to target me. I'm a nobody. I don't have to worry about that. That's not what's going on here. But now when you know you can easily target a nobody, you know, one of the big things we're seeing is Donald Trump fundraiser messages getting sent out with videos of him asking them to give him X amount of money and saying, hey, follow this link to this domain and donate at least X dollars. And it's like some scam domain, and it's a fake video of him asking for money. And people think that, oh, this is where I go if I want to donate to his campaign fund. And they're giving millions of dollars to this scam site because they saw Donald Trump saying it. So it must be real. And very little money was put into producing that. Next up is policy. A policy of what to do when you have situations like this. This is something you should already have. If you should have a policy in your company that says something like, if you are asked to transfer any amount of money out of the company or go spend any amount of money over a certain amount, you know, to buy Amazon gift cards or whatever, you know, that's the classic scam that the phishers use, or they'll text you or leave you a voicemail. It's like, hey, this is your CEO, Frank. I need you to go pick me up 50 Amazon gift cards, please, and send me the codes to this text message. Now you might get a phone call. You might get a video call from CEO Frank asking you to do that. You might get that frantic voicemail like we heard Chris doing earlier, where it's like, oh, I'm at the airport. Don't call me back. I'm going to be on a plane, but please get this done because it'll be too late when I land. So you can't call me back. You just have to do it. Have a policy that says, okay, anything like that has to happen. There's a second person that can authorize it, or that, you know, for over a certain amount, you need 2 signatures on that or something. Who's that second person you should go to? And at the very worst, you go to that second person and you go, hey, CEO Frank just called and he said I have to approve this $10 million invoice for this insurance company. And so you're the other person on that since he's not here. And so I'm giving this to you. And then that person, at least, who would be a peer of the CEO, you'd be maybe some other executive, could at least make an executive decision and go, oh no, this is garbage. I don't even know what this is about. I'm not approving this. No. And at the very least, it's out of your hands, and they'll take the heat if it was actually a problem, but they'll have a much better idea of what it is and if it's a scam or not, and be able to make that call. And so just having a policy of what do I do in this circumstance, and educating everyone in the company on that. Again, going back to that Amazon gift card scam, that's absolutely the biggest scam we see out there. And it's usually hitting people really low on the totem pole in the company. It'll be like the CEO asking me, I don't know, what's the classic, the mailroom clerk or, you know, help desk guy. Hey, can you go get these gift cards really quick? And people go, oh, wow, the CEO wants me to do something. I better go do it because, man, that's the CEO. You got to just include that in your training, in your security awareness training. Go, look, these are the scams. Look, nobody here is going to ask you to go get, no executive in this company is going to ask you to go buy Amazon gift cards. Doesn't even make sense. Stop. Anytime anyone in the company asks you to spend money, wait. Take 10 minutes. 10 minutes is not going to make or break any emergency situation. Take 10 minutes. Think about the situation. You know, is this even something I would ever be contacted to do? Talk to somebody else in the company about it. talk to your boss. Everyone's got a boss. Whoever that boss is, go, hey, boss, what do you think of this? You know, it's your boss. You're being given tasking out of band. You should be bringing that to your boss. Hey, this other person wants me to do a thing, but you wanted me to do that. What should I do? Do that. And then finally, you know, testing, security testing. We've been doing phishing testing forever. This is the new phishing. This is what the new phishing testing should look like. Do the video, the deep fake video testing, do the deep fake audio testing. And, you know, once everybody becomes familiar with that and is constantly made to then go be put through that policy, that process, even if they fall for the phishing attack, if they go, all right, I got to buy a thing. Okay, well, if I have to buy anything, I'm supposed to also tell my boss. And then your boss goes, no, man, you got phished. There's no way that's real. The system works. That's not a failure. That means the system worked. The policy worked, the education worked, and the testing proved that the policy and education worked. So even though you were able to fool somebody, you weren't able to actually get the task accomplished. So nothing new as far as fighting back against this, even though it's cutting edge, exceptionally difficult to detect attacks. Having a good policy and education in place is absolutely still going to shut those down. So thanks. I know we don't have time for Q&A because we got started a little late. So if there is one, we got time? Okay. Do you want me to tell them? Okay, yeah. I intentionally did not give you the name of that software, just due to the very, very obvious dangers involved in that. I did cut that out, and I've got a request from someone very high up in your company telling me, please definitely don't spread that information. So we all know it exists. I'm not going to give you the name of that. Yeah. What you have on the screen is just as prompts, I had asked ChatGPT to give me what the top 4 most common audience questions would be. These are all obviously useless. ChatGPT is not great, but that's it. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I think I go all the way back to, I'll give you my QR code at the beginning there again. Where was it? Hey, there it was. So thanks, guys. And I'll hand it back over to Melanie. And I hope you have a great day.
Thank you very much, Johnny. And thank you all for attending. Hope you really enjoyed the content. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.